Hi, buddy, Michael here, Christ of England. Today's video, I want to talk about the Church of England not being happy about Tommy Robinson supporters wanting to join the church, and also how the Christ is King crowd are hypocrites and they need to join the Christ of England that I have founded. So let's go. Okay, so everybody in England and anybody in the world who understands what's going on in England understands that the Church of England is, like most institutions, it has been corrupted from the top with Marxism and Marxists. That's why it is woke, and it has been infested with this political ideology. And that's from a political point of view, but from a spiritual point of view, it has also been led by blind fools, as Jesus Christ would call them if he was here today. Or as any man or woman of Christ who is truly awake in these days would call them blind fools, such as the previous Archbishop of Canterbury was a blind fool, and the current Archbishop of Canterbury is a blind fool. And to be honest, most of the priests and pastors, they're all blind fools. And they are wolves in sheep's clothing. And it's not necessarily that they're deliberately, consciously evil, but through their ignorance, they are evil. Because they think they're sheep, but really they're wolves. Because if you have a blind shepherd trying to lead the sheep, bad things are going to happen, and then the wolves will come in and destroy the sheep. And with that being said, the Church of England has become essentially Marxist, a left-wing political institution rather than a spiritual institution. And basically, if you understand my theology and understanding, is that the Church of England has never really been a spiritual authority, because the Spirit of Christ dwells beyond the physical. Anybody who believes in a religion and dogma is still stuck in the fleshly ego, and they haven't transcended it and returned to Christ or understood the spiritual Christ within them. It's a mystical understanding of God, not an intellectual belief in God. And because they've become a political left-wing institution, obviously the church are concerned that Tommy Robinson has returned to Christianity, and a lot of right-wing people are becoming Christian again or promoting Christianity. And obviously that is ridiculous, because the church should welcome all souls who are willing to come to join and be with Christ. But because they're not interested in Christ, they are rejecting people from the church, essentially. Now, with me saying that, that's pretty obvious to everyone, but I want to add a deeper element and understanding to this subject, because I believe most right-wing people returning to Christianity are also in the wrong. And a lot of their coming to Christ and all this stuff they say is a political movement rather than a true yearning for Christ. And what they're seeing is they're seeing the takeover of Islam. They're seeing how secularism and a turning away from Christianity or God has made society worse. They think that from a political sense, it makes sense to return to being a Christian nation. But the problem we have with that is it, again, is still of the ego. You don't have a real love and yearning for Christ and the Father. What you want is earthly solutions of having your country back and all these things that happen in politics. You want political answers, and you see Christ as a political weapon rather than a spiritual realization and a love of God and Christ. And when I hear a lot of these right-wing Christians talk, they are essentially blind fools. And the interesting thing is, when you truly, truly return to Christ, you're healed of your spiritual blindness, and everything just makes sense. You can see things crystal clearly for the most part. And one thing you realize is that everybody is blind. Even in the Bible, Jesus talked about, it's the blind leading the blind. And it's the same thing in our world today. Everybody's blind. The Church of England leaders has become blinded spiritually, because they believe in just dogma. They have no spiritual wisdom. And then politically, they've been corrupted. So we have blind fools all over the place. But then even the right wing, they're blind fools who are using Christ as a tool for political ideology. And their goal is not to serve Christ. Their goal is to make Christianity more right wing, or the Church of England more right wing. But these are all shallow goals, and they don't have any deep meaning, and they have no use to Christ and the Father. And they will not solve our problems, because we all know something's wrong in the world, and we want to solve our problems. And we're looking for political leaders or church leaders or, the royal family leaders, or institutions such as the EU or whoever. But nobody will solve our problems. The only one who will solve our problems is God the Father, and through his Spirit of Christ. That's the only way we will solve our problems. But nobody talks about it. And when they talk about Christ, they're not talking about the Spirit of Christ and glorifying Christ and the Father. It's just a political tool. So when you'll hear Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens say, Christ is king, but they don't truly believe that because it's just a political tool for them. Like a lot of them say it because they hate the Jews. So when they say Christ is king, it's more of a, we hate the Jews and Jewish power, so we want to use it as a political tool. It's not a real love of Christ. And you hear like people like the Tate brothers or Tommy Robinson, we need Christian revivals and all this stuff. But are they living the example? In relation to the Tate brothers, or Tristan Tate claimed to be a Christian, he's not a good example of what a man of Christ should be. And Tommy Robinson, I have a lot of respect for, so I'm not accusing him of that, but he's still spiritually blind, and he would need to come and join someone like the Christ of England. And that goes for a lot of Christians, because a lot of Christians I have a lot of respect for. So while I may criticize a lot of Christians on one way, I have a lot of respect, and some of the people doing the best work are Christians. I just believe that we need a real men and women of Christ to be leaders in the country and the world. Just like 2,000 years ago, I'm sure there are a lot of good rabbis, such as Nicodemus, who probably did a good job, but Christ had that special magic of realizing the truth of Christ within himself, and his love and wisdom stood out above everybody else. This is why the political leaders and the religious leaders hated him, because they had all the power and control. But Christ was the good shepherd, and he had real love of God for the people, just as I believe the Christ of England will have the real love of the people and the wisdom and the truth to solve our problems. And my message to all the Christ is King crowd. So if Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Tommy Robinson, all these people claim Christ is king, then come and join the Christ of England and fund the Christ of England, as Jesus said to the rich ruler, because all these people, Candace Owens, the Tate brothers, Tommy Robinson, I'm sure, have got a lot of money. Not so much Tommy Robinson because he's persecuted by the state, so I'm not really talking about him, but likes of Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Tristan Tate, I'm sure these people, or I know these people are worth multi-millions. Well, if you truly believe that Christ is king and the answer to our solutions, as Christ said, give all your money to the poor and come follow me. Well, I'm saying, don't give your money to the poor, come and give your money to the Christ of England, and we will use it to truly glorify the Christ and use Christ's Spirit to serve. And come and join us, the real deal. Not these fake church leaders or political movements. Come and join the Christ of England. If you don't, then you don't love Christ. You love your money, just as the rich ruler. Christ said to him, come follow me. Give up your money, come follow me. If you really want to live by the truth. He was a good religious man. He followed all the religious protocols and all that stuff. But he wanted to know, how could he reach the ultimate level of knowing and serving God? Christ said, well, just give up all your money and come follow me. But he couldn't give up all his money, because he didn't truly have that yearning and love of Christ. And I can guarantee you, the likes of Candace Owens would never give up all her money and drama, soap opera nonsense she spouts, because she doesn't love Christ. She loves money. And to finish the video, this is why I have set up the Christ of England. And this is my aim for 2026, to really start moving this forward. And I want people to start leaving the Church of England and joining the Christ of England and helping funding the Christ of England. And this is not something for myself, like people do YouTube channels and make loads of money. This is basically a non-profit, where at some point, if people are working full time, they will need to earn some money out of it, yes, but nobody will be able to earn more than the average wage. And it will attract people who are interested in serving Christ rather than serving themselves. Okay, so that's the point of my video today. I'm encouraging people to come and join the Christ of England. In the new year, I will have a membership scheme and all these things for people to join and become a part of the movement, because you need to come and help us, and we all need to take action to help save our countries and our world with the Spirit of Christ and glorify Christ and the Father. It can't be done by any individual. It needs to be a team effort. So I want people going out there, spreading the word, telling others to come and join, and stop funding corrupt people and fund the Christ of England. And then we can gain power and influence in society. And I know a lot of people won't truly understand what I'm talking about, because there's a lot of things to learn. Even if you understand about religion, you won't understand the true spiritual meaning behind a lot of what I'm talking about, or what even Jesus talks about. And there's a lot to learn. And in the new year, once I put the website live and get all the other stuff going, I will have courses and YouTube videos giving people the spiritual knowledge about the truth about spirituality, religion, Christ, and then people can understand how it affects understand the economy, politics, and every facet of understanding that I believe that people need, with obviously the most important being understanding the truth of Christ and how that is the only way that we can heal ourselves, our nations, and our world. Okay, so sign off the video, like the video if you like it, share it with as many people as you can, especially with Christians. I want all Christians to come and join the Christ of England. They can still go to their church because I think it's good for community, but the Christ of England will be a place where Christ will be glorified and we can solve our problems. And for now, subscribe. The membership schemes and stuff will be coming out in the new year. And for now, God bless everybody. Goodbye.